Have you ever looked at your indoor plants and thought you deserve a makeover? That's exactly what we're doing today with my Hoya. But it's more than just a special makeover. I'm using some special products for an incredible transformation. Stay tuned to see a plant's journey from meh to wow. Today we're not just repotting, we're completely upgrading its lifestyle with the Leafy Brand's ultimate pot set, and you get to watch every step from adding extra ventilation to using a unique wick system. We're covering it all. This is my Hoya Leca living in my DIY cash pot with my DIY net pot. This is a beautiful plant that could look so much better and could be a statement piece in my house. So I am going to upgrade its living conditions and make it look like the gorgeous beauty that it's meant to look like. I'm also going to be upgrading my Hoya Sunrise. This plant is a showstopper, especially when it gets that sun stressing going. So at the moment it's living in my DIY cash pot, in my DIY net pot, but I'm going to put this plant in this gorgeous combination and it's going to look spectacular. So in order to carry out this transformation, I'm going to need a few things. I have the ultimate pot set. This is the smaller one that I'm going to use for my Hoya Sunrise, and this is the larger one that I'm going to put my Hoya Leca in. I also have some little cords that I'm going to use as my wicking systems. I also have these gorgeous U-shaped clear trellises that will work really, really well in my pot set and just make that combo look absolutely stunning. And in addition to this, I have these little clear clips that I'm going to use to attach my plant to that trellis, and the whole thing is just going to look really, really seamless. Let's talk about these clear pots. These are the inner pots that sit inside of the cash pot, so your plant is actually going to be planted in that. These have a little bit of ventilation. You can see when I put that little piece of paper in there, it stays stuck in there. So there is a little bit of ventilation, and that just goes through, it goes through the whole pot. And it's a little bit bigger for the bigger pot. You can see that you've got ventilation there. For my purposes, because I'm growing my plants in Leca clay balls or in semi-hydroponics, I feel that this is not enough ventilation for my plants. It's possible for you to grow your plants in a self-watering setup like this one without having that additional ventilation. A lot of people do it very successfully. I like to have that additional ventilation because I just feel that having that air going through that pot, going to those roots, just makes that living condition for those roots so much better. You can see from my plants here, this is my DIY pot, and it's got those little ventilation holes that I make specifically in that. So today we're actually going to make additional ventilation holes in this. Again, not a step you have to do, but I do that for my plants. These inner pots are quite thick. They're very, very sturdy, and the Leafy Brand, Andy, reckons that it might be a bit difficult for me to put my holes in here because the pots are very thick, but I've got my soldering iron at the ready. It's been heating up. It's like at 450 degrees Celsius. I think it's up for the job. When I'm using my soldering iron, I love to put my gloves on because safety is really, really important. In fact, almost every time I use my soldering iron, I'm doing it outside because I don't want to be breathing in those plastic fumes. It's just so much safer there because of all the added ventilation. But of course, because I'm making this video, I can't be outside. So I've got all my windows open. I've got my fans going. Hopefully I won't get too much plastic fumes into my system, but I also have a mask that I'm going to put on to try and protect myself even more from that plastic fumage. This is my soldering iron that has been heated up to 450 degrees Celsius, and I work really well with this soldering iron. It's done a lot of good work for me. If you're interested in getting a soldering iron like this one, just check in my Amazon store. The link is in the description below, or you can find that in my resources page on my kit.co. Let's get making some holes. That looking really good. That goes in really, really easily. Not difficult at all. Wow, that was really easy. So I'll just do that throughout the pot. Okay, that's that first one done. That's looking really, really nice. And I'll do the little one now. that is that little one all done, looking really, really nice. I think this has turned out really, really well. They look really, really awesome. Soldering iron will do the job every time. The next part of my repotting is going to be putting the wicks into this. And the reason I need to put a wick is because when you put that inner pot inside there, you actually have a little bit of a space between the inner pot and the base of the cash pot. So your nutrient solution is going to be down there, and the Leca actually isn't going to be sitting in that nutrient solution. And he has got a lovely diagram showing how you can actually use these pots in various setups. So if you're growing your plant in soil, you could use it that way. If you want to use it as a self-watering pot, or if you're growing your plants in semi-hydroponics, you can attach a wick. And what that does is that that wick is going to be in constant contact with the nutrient solution or the water that's at the base of your cash pot, and it'll wick that solution up to the substrate that's inside that pot. So because I grow my plants in Leca, the Leca always needs to be moist, right? It always needs to be in touch with that nutrient solution, unlike when you're growing your plant in soil. So I am going to put a wick. So I've got my little wick strips there, and what I do is just make a knot right in the middle. And when I make that knot right in the middle, I've got a bit that's going to go into the cash pot over there, and this is the bit that's going to go into my pot. So this is for my long pot. I'll put that right there. There's a little hole right in the middle over there. I'll push that through that hole, and that comes out on that end like so. And this is going to be in and amongst my Leca. So that works really nicely. That would go in there. That is perfect. So I do the same thing for my little plant, my little pot there. So that works really, really nicely. And I push that through. There we go. That and that. So now we're going to do the really exciting thing, and we're going to actually repot our plant. So I take my plant out of this, and I take that out very, very gently. I can still use this Leca. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's perfect. So just making sure that I get my wick there. And you can see that's my Leca in there. And I'll get my plant and I'll put it in there. And you can see how that fits really, really nicely. That looks fabulous. And all I do is just fill the rest of that pot up with the Leca that was in my original pot. When I'm potting up my plants using my usual pots, when I get to this stage, I'll just give that pot a little bit of a squeeze to allow that Leca to settle. This pot is really, really firm. There is no squeezing this pot. There's no give. So I'm just gonna bang it on my table a little bit just to help that Leca settle. And then I find I've got more space, and I'll just put that in. So I've got a little bit of Leca extra because I think that pot is just a little bit smaller, which is fine because Hoyas love to be a little bit snug. So now we get to the really, really fun part. This is where I get to put my trellis in, and it is really easy. It just goes straight in. Well, I mean, it would go straight in if you're growing your plants in soil. It's so much easier then. It's still easy when you're growing your plants in semi-hydro. It's just that you get stuff falling out a little bit. And all you need to do is just put it back. And there we go. That is my plant. That is looking straight. So I'm going to get my little clips because this plant looks so cute. I'm going to use my clips for this one and just clip that there. So you can see I clip that to that part of the trellis, and then I clip that other bit, and I don't think I even need to clip that. So I've got two clips there to secure the long part of the plant, and that is it. I grab my outer pot, my cash pot, and voila! Doesn't that look like a picture? That is really, really good. And as my plant grows, I will keep clipping up, clipping it up, clipping it up, and it's going to look absolutely fantastic. I tell you, when this plant sun stresses, you're going to have that red, the green, the white, and the clear. It's going to be magical. Okay, let's do the big one now. I've got my big pot here and my big plant. I'll put that Leca in there because there's a lot more of it. Ooh, that is my plant. You know what I'm going to do? Since I've got the plant out, I'm going to take it to the sink and give it a wash just to make sure I get rid of any of those dead or dying roots that are in that system. So this plant is starting off on a clean slate. I'll be right back. Here we are. This is my plant all washed. I've taken off, there were quite a bits of roots that were floating around in that Leca. So that is all clean. I am loving how that looks. I'm going to go ahead and take it off this trellis because of course this plant is going to get a new trellis. That is gone. This is my DIY trellis that I make, and this trellis costs less than $2 to make. I buy this piece of metal from Bunnings and that's it. If you want to see how I do that, just click on the link above. But you can see how there is absolutely no rust there. This is a really, really cheap way of getting a trellis. But what we're doing today is getting a plant to look fabulous. I've got some clean Leca that I'm going to put for this plant because there were lots of bits of roots in that Leca. So I'm taking this opportunity to refresh the Leca for this plant. If you're finding this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel. So just a little bit of Leca in at the bottom there. I think that will do. And then I'll just plonk my plant in there. That is, well, maybe that's a bit too low. I don't know. I think I need more Leca in there before I start repotting. So I've got 3 plants in this pot actually. That looks good. That is a good place. And I've got this other teeny one. So I'll put that there and I'll just fill this pot up with Leca. Right, that is looking good. I'm happy with how that looks for now. I now need to put my trellis in. Now, this is going to be a really interesting operation because I want to make sure that this plant looks beautiful and try and attach all the long bits to the trellis. And I'm really hoping that the trellis is already not too small. So you can grab all these goodies from the Leafy Brand website. Oh yeah, just push that in. Yeah, that looks good. That looks and feels good. And I can still see a few spaces there. So I'm actually using the trellis to make sure that there's Leca everywhere I need it to be. So as I was saying, you can grab all these goodies from the Leafy Brand website. I've got all the links in the description below to the various products that I'm using today. Don't forget to use my code. I've got it in the description below and up here somewhere as well, and you can get some money off for those particular products. Unfortunately, I think as of today, which is, what is today? I don't know, 25th of February, they're not yet doing international shipping, but keep checking. I think this is something that Andy is exploring and looking to ship internationally. So don't be discouraged, but if you're in Australia, go for it. Okay, that is looking good. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to get my little clips and clip my Hoya. Okay, clippy time. Oh, I love these clips. They are just amazing. There we go. There, how gorgeous does that look already? I think I want to put a clip here. Yeah, oh wow. I am loving that already. So now I clip this other one here. The good thing with this is I can use the same clip that I used here to clip onto the other one. There, how gorgeous does that look? That looks really, really nice. I love that look. And I've actually got, you know, one clip left over. I'll put that one here. And now I'll just put more Leca in there because I still got space in there. But now that I'm done setting my plant up, I'll put more. I am loving the look of that. That is my cash pot, and in it goes. So the next step in this process is I'm going to fill up my reservoirs with my nutrient solution. So I've got nutrient solution that I pre-mixed in this, and in here I've got Flower Focus mixed with Root Zone. And what that does is just allow my flowering plants to be in the best position for them to flower. So I'll just put that in there. And put that in there as well. I might take a little sneak peek, and there we go. All right, sneak peek, and you can see that nutrient solution dripping over there. Now, let's be real. I know this is called the Ultimate Pot Set, and it is really, really beautiful because it's very difficult to actually find pots for semi-hydro that are clear on the inside and have got lovely dark outer cache pots to protect your plants from algae, and they fit really nicely at the top and they look beautiful. This is what these pots have got going for them, and they're very sturdy. They feel very, very lovely. But obviously I've said to you that I don't like the fact that they don't have that additional ventilation, which is fine. I've been able to fix that. The other thing I don't like is that I'm not able to actually just at a glance figure out what is going in that reservoir. I don't know if I've got nutrient solution in there or not. I don't know if it's dry, which again is okay. There are many pots that lots of people use that don't have that water level indicator. Some of them do, some of them don't. I mean, I guess you could technically put in your own water level indicator. Those items are very readily available on eBay, Amazon, wherever, anywhere that you can buy them, you can use them. Problem with quite a number of those is they do get a little bit stuck. So sometimes you think you've actually got nutrient solution in there, but you actually don't. Maybe another thing it could have done is maybe just have a little PP window on the side so you can see. I don't know. This is me nitpicking because we're always looking for the ultimate pot. And yes, I know it's called the ultimate pot, but I think we'll have to agree to disagree on that one. And I don't know if it is the ultimate because these are the things that I would love to have seen about them. But having said that, I still recommend them. I still think they are gorgeous, beautiful pots and will function very, very well in my home. To keep these Hoyas looking their best, remember to keep that reservoir topped up. Make sure that you've got nutrient solution in there if you're growing your plants in semi-hydro. Place the plant in bright indirect light and watch them thrive. Adjust the trellis and clips as needed and you'll have thriving Hoyas that are both healthy and beautiful. So, did the Leafy Brand accessories add the spark? Let me know in the comments below.